Good afternoon, everyone. Is it bedtime yet? So I thought I could see what y'all have to say about this morning while we wait for a stream. And I'm going to try and use the other public stream because I get nervous, on the Fox stream. So the trial is a public video, but when they get on and comment, that is not something I can use. So I have to be careful. Neil says, I know that you aren't diagnosed with anything, but just to keep your energy up for the afternoon. What? I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. Al, you're cooking dinner already? Hi, Michelle. Oh, Neil's passing out peppermints to everyone in the chat. Oh, 5. Silverberry's pointing out it's 5. Perfect. Nikki's saying, I thought they were going pretty quick. Yeah. I think a lot of it is they're laying down some foundation. Vera's asking, I think Vera's asking everybody, what do you think about the way things are going so far in the trial? I'm annoyed. I'm not surprised by Owen saying, well, she was scared and she lied. I'm not surprised, but I'm annoyed because I think she's lying now. Well, actually, I think she's been lying the entire time, but that's another thing. And I think any news story is going to be a lie. And I hope that the prosecution shows how she lied about doing CPR. She did not do CPR. You don't do CPR and still have the phone up here. You don't do CPR without being out of breath. You don't do CPR and remain on the phone until first responders arrive and then have to say, but I have a cigarette burning on the back porch. Well, you weren't doing CPR then, honey. You don't do CPR and, find out they find out later when Brian came, she wasn't doing it. So I hope they bring that out or make that clear, because Owens can't say that her failure to do CPR was about her being scared. CB's agreeing she didn't do CPR. Nicole's saying, I can't wait till they show the videos. I hope they show the entire interrogation. And the other thing was the 911 call. She said she slipped up during the call. I put him in the suitcase. Now she may end up having to admit that she put his unconscious body into the suitcase. Who knows? And if her new story is different from what she told the experts, that's going to be another thing. See, she knows now that she has to come up with an overt act, and him sticking his hand out of the suitcase is not an overt act. So who knows what the story is going to be? Nikki's asking about the 911 call. And I also actually thought they would do it with the 911 operator. But they've got it in evidence, and that was the important part. Moa Lindsay says the state doesn't need to put on an elaborate case. I think they expect that the defense is going to waste a lot of the jurors' time. Yeah. I think the defense is going to put on quite the show on Sarah's behalf. Oh, Leslie's saying, you guys have a wind advisory? Red flag warning. So wires went down twice. Internet failed. Oh. Well, I hope you get to stay with us, Leslie. Oh, KPM is saying no, they came up with the 11 minutes now to form the overt act of him threatening her. Maybe. Hiya, Angel Baby. Vera says, I like how the judge puts on record the fact that Sarah agrees with her defense strategy. Yes, because he has Sarah's number and knows that she's liable to claim ineffective assistance of counsel. Rel says, I think Sarah will put up quite a show on Sarah's behalf. Yeah. AKA the cat lady said defense is saying it was not intentional, but also self-defense. I can see how it could be not intentional and self-defense, and here's how I can see that. I can see them saying she put him in the suitcase as that was the self-defense part and was afraid to let him out, but didn't actually expect that this would cause his demise. I think that's how they're going to get around that. Criminal Minds is asking when I think Sarah will testify. I think Sarah will testify at pretty close to the beginning of the defense case. Good morning, New Orleans. And I'm going to try and use the stream that I normally use, but I might have to switch it around. Hopefully they've got the sound issues worked out. That was really frustrating. I think I missed a lot of what the prosecution said. KPM says, I am stunned. She said she was very pleased, but not stunned because she's getting her story out the way she wants it. Yes, her truth. Christina says the trial is going fast so far. AKA the cat lady says, but you can't do that with self-defense. It's an affirmative defense, so it can't be accidental. I think the action can't be accidental, like a gun going off, but the result or the intended result, I think you could make an argument about that. Criminal Minds is saying, I hope the state is thorough but not too overwhelming in their witnesses. And this is a challenge. When you are on the side of the prosecution, you're having to bring in a lot of technical evidence, medical evidence, and you're not putting on the show the way the defense can get away with putting on a show. And Mr. J is very methodical and meticulous. So I think he is going to be thorough, like get these things out there in an orderly manner. And Mr. Owens, at the very beginning, I called him fast and loose. So we'll see. Wolfie says Fox has the sound figured out. I was streaming a bit from them, but when they cut to their their anchor who talks, I can get in trouble for that part. So I don't want to get my videos taken down or my channel shut down or anything. So I'm a little bit nervous about using that and accidentally airing their commentary. Patty B says there was a case similar to this where a woman claimed a battered spouse and a gun went off accidentally. She couldn't use the battered spouse syndrome claiming accident. Correct. That is correct. And that is the case, in fact, that they're citing a lot in court. However, there is a distinction. The thing that caused the demise of the other person was that bullet or that gun going off. So it can't be an accident and self-defense. That's logically impossible. But in this case, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. She's not claiming she accidentally put him in the suitcase or accidentally zipped him up or accidentally hit him with the bat or any of that. She's not even complaining that she accidentally refused to let him out. What she's saying is all that was intentional, but I didn't intend to cause his death. That's what I think she's going for. And I think they could distinguish that from the other case in that manner. And Patty, I don't believe any of Sarah's defenses either. I think that what happened in the house is much worse than anything we've ever heard about. Oh, hang on. I had a screen share. Okay, hopefully the sound is better. I am going to trust you to let me know what I need to do. So someone's asking, do you think they found DNA, maybe George's and or Sarah's on the bat? I'm sure that they did. And I'm sure that's why she would have to include the issue of the bat. And the DNA that would be important would be George's, or if there was blood in particular or bodily fluid on the weapon end of the bat. Because you could explain away her DNA being, say, on the handle. The heart machine is saying too many lies. Yep. Buttercup, I did a video on the alimony letter to the family court judge. The video is called, Is Sarah Boone Damaging Her Own Defense? It's on the playlist. Michelle's saying, I've never seen her smile so much. Yeah, she's getting everything she wants. I think she thinks she's going home. Beck says, is it just me or does she look like she's having way too much fun at trial? Yeah, well, it's going to end soon. She's got 3 weeks. 2 weeks. Katina, yes, they are just getting back from lunch. Vera's saying victim blaming is going to be irritating. Oh, here we go.
We're back on the record. State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, 2020 CF 2603. Can I get appearances for counsel for the record, starting with counsel for the state?
Dave Kester on behalf of the state. William J. for the state.
In defense.
James Olders for Sarah Boone. Tony Henderson for Sarah Boone. Kevin Beckham for Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing the same black suit and pink blouse from this morning. State, anything we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Can we get the evidence projection system up and can we test it before we
Yes.
go live?
Yes, sir.
Someone's asking if he got in the suitcase downstairs. How did it get upstairs? He didn't get in the suitcase downstairs. She's lying.
If you want to test it out, Mr. J.
12:59 p.m. with a GMT offset of minus 300 minutes. Call on month.
Katina says, I feel like as soon as the jury hears Sarah's own words, they'll understand what's going on. I don't know. See, it seems obvious to us because we know the background. The jury doesn't.
Call 1 at 12:59 p.m. with a GMT offset of minus 300 minutes. Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
That is the best I can do, sir.
I think they're going to play the 911 call. Yes, Sarah can be cross-examined by the prosecution, absolutely. Sue, no one has explained that I'm aware of who the people are sitting with the judge. I'm guessing they're students.
Anything else, State,
law
you need to
students.
address?
Not this time, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Just in the spirit of full disclosure, there are some persons behind me to my right and my left. I run the mock trial program at Barry University School of Law here in town, and these are some of my students as a member of that program, so they're here just simply to observe. So pay no mind or attention to them. With that, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's stand and bring in our panel.
Jury answer.
Yes, Colette, I would love to be Cranick's
State, do you recognize our
student.
jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury? All right, y'all can be seated. Thank you. Members of the jury, good afternoon. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. If you could, again, by a show of hands, confirm that you complied with the court's instructions that we gave prior to the break. Record reflect all jurors' hands have been raised. With that, the state is going to continue with their evidence presentation this afternoon. State, you may call your next witness.
State call Brian Boone.
Mr. Boone, raise your right hand and be sworn, please. You swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. Sir, good afternoon. You could be seated. After seated, if you could please state and spell your name for the record for us.
Brian Boone, B-R-I, Anne, Boone.
Thank you, sir. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us how it is that you know the defendant?
I dated her for quite a while, and then we eventually got married.
When you say you dated her for quite a while, how long are we talking?
I met her in the late 90s, and I believe it was around 2005 when we got married.
Did you have any children as a result of your marriage with the defendant?
Yes, we had one son.
And how old is that son?
He is currently getting ready to turn 14.
Did your marriage with the defendant last?
No, it did not.
And approximately when was it that you separated and began proceedings for divorce?
Probably 2017, I'm thinking maybe.
And at that time, when was your divorce actually finalized?
Maybe it was 2006. I think the divorce was 2017, I believe.
And after your divorce, what was your custody arrangement with your son that you had in common with the defendant?
She was supposed to have him on Mondays and Tuesdays. I would have him Wednesday, Thursdays, and then we'd alternate Friday through Sundays every other week.
So 1 week you would have 5 days with your son, and another week she would have 5 days with him.
Correct.
And was this still the same custody arrangement in February of 2020?
Yes.
And in February of 2020, do you recall the events that occurred, I guess, first on the late evening of February 23rd, 2020?
On that evening?
Yes.
Well, apparently, Sarah called me at one point during the night.
Do you recall about what time she called you?
I think it was 11 something.
When you answered the phone, how did Sarah sound on the phone?
She sounded like she had been drinking, was pretty drunk.
Were you able to understand what the defendant was saying?
Somewhat, but she woke me up. I had work the next day. I was asleep when she called. She's done this before, calling me late at night, and generally I kind of just try to ignore it, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Who was she living with at the time?
George Torres?
When she called you late that evening, could you hear George in the background at all?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you pay much attention to this phone call?
No.
Now, the following morning, on February 24th, 2020, did you begin to call the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And approximately what time did you begin to call the defendant?
I think it was like 11 o'clock or something.
And why was it that you were calling her?
Well, it was going to be Monday. I had him on Sunday and dropped him off at school, and I was calling to try to find out if she was going to be actually picking him up that day.
Why would you have a question about whether or not she was picking him up?
She wasn't generally very good about actually getting him on the day she was supposed to.
So it was not uncommon for you to have to remind her to pick him up or to make sure that she was going to pick him up?
Well, I mean, remind or just find out if she was going to, or if she was just going to give him over to me as what happened.
Do you remember at what time on February 24th you actually got in touch with the defendant?
I think it was like 12:30 or something.
And when you actually got in touch with her, What did she tell you on the phone?
That George was dead, and if I would come over.
Did she say what happened to him?
I don't remember if she told me then on the phone or when I got there, but she told me they had been playing hide and seek and that she fell asleep.
12:30. 911 wasn't called until 12:59.
What did you advise her to do?
I told her she needed to call 911 and that I would come over as soon as I could.
And this is on your first phone call here at approximately 12:30.
Yes.
On 2/24/20.
Yes.
Did she call you again while you were en route to her residence?
She did. She called to find out if I was still going to be coming over.
And when you spoke with her while you were en route, what, if anything, did you advise her?
I told her she needed to call 911 and told her I was on my way, but she needed to get somebody over there.
If she didn't understand that when you find someone dead or possibly dead in your house, that you need to call 911, she didn't understand that. He's told her once. Now he's told her a second time.
How long did it take you to arrive at her residence?
From the first phone call, or?
Yes, from the first one.
Well, I mean, I live a minute or two drive away, but I had to get my puppy. We had just gotten a puppy recently. I had to get him in his crate and stuff like that and put something on because I was working from home. And total time, maybe 10 minutes.
When you arrived at her apartment, tell us what she told you when you arrived.
George was dead, and I don't remember if she told me now or before that they had been playing hide and seek and she fell asleep, but I at that time told her again she needed to get 911 called to get somebody over there.
Still hasn't called 911. This is the third time. So from 11:30, he's told her 3 times. It only took him 10 minutes to get there. So what the heck was she doing until 12:59?
Had she called 911 at this point?
No, she had not.
So you've advised her now 3 times to call 911.
Yes.
Did you go inside of her apartment?
I walked in the front door into the little tiled area, like entranceway thing.
What, if anything, did you observe when you made it to that point?
Looking into the living room, I could see like the end of his feet and maybe a little bit of some legs that were kind of coming out around the backside of the kitchen area.
Did you continue to go
So that means he was out of the suitcase by that point, right?
into the apartment?
No.
Where did you go?
Sarah told me she was going to call 911 and go outside and have a cigarette and a drink and asked me to come out there with her. And I told her that I didn't really feel comfortable being inside. And I went out front and got in my car and waited for people to show up.
So now we know, even then, she decided to go out for a smoke and a drink before calling 911. Before calling 911. Do you remember on the 911 call, we hear her say to somebody, and it turns out it's Brian, please don't leave, right? I thought at the time that I heard this call that that was the first time he'd arrived. But no, he'd already arrived, went outside, and she went and had a smoke and her Dr. Pepper. I can you tell I really dislike this woman?
Did you witness the defendant call 911?
I think I was in there when she dialed it and first got somebody on the phone, but I wasn't there for the whole conversation. No, I was outside.
Did you stay there at the scene while police arrived?
Yes, I was there. I was part of it. I knew I'd have to talk to somebody, so
Did you talk with law enforcement?
I did.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Judge, we want to reserve our questions for when we call in our case.
Okay. All right, sir. You're subject to recall.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as long as he remains under subpoena.
My understanding is subject to recall.
So somebody will contact me about that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The reason the defense isn't going to cross-examine right now is, I think, because first they want to make sure that they get in the overt act and battered spouse and all of that, and then call him back. And I wish, I mean, maybe the prosecution is reserving this, but I wish it would come out, or I hope it does come out, that Sarah attacked Brian in the past, and Sarah was the primary aggressor. So I mean, there's still a possibility that's coming out, especially if the defense opens the door to that by claiming battered spouse. We'll see.
State, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, may we approach a moment?
Yes.
So somebody's saying the state never asked about Sarah beating on Brian. They can't. They can't do that. They can't bring up her prior bad acts. But if Owens opens the door with battered spouse, claiming that Sarah's the poor victim, then they're going to have an easier time getting her prior bad acts in.
It's 300 minutes. Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of the emergency? 4748 Burns Court, apartment 3. 4748, what's the street name? Brant, F-R-A-N-T-D. And the apartment number? 3. Is this a police or medical? My boyfriend is dead. Okay, 7 line for the fire department, will not hang up. No, please don't leave. 4748 Friends Lane, apartment 3. Friends Court. Friends Court? Yes.
Okay, is this near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Okay.
It's Gilwood Park Apartment.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I had him in a case when we were playing, and but kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So
I put him in the suitcase. I put him. And we were playing, which means she skipped over the actual question, which was what happened.
Please. And I woke up and he was dead in the suitcase, so I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's your apartment number?
3.
Apartment 3?
Yes, but he had like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know, like he had like an aneurysm on the spot, nothing.
Right, okay, all right, okay. Listen, we're getting out of OT. All right, okay. Okay,
Now?
okay, 40, yeah, listen, we're on our way up there. You're at 407-716-8684. Okay, is he hanging from somewhere or what, man?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old are you working now? 42-year-old man. All right. Okay, we're checking up on your sheriff's officer over there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. All right, listen to me. Okay, that you need to confirm this one. All right, I understand. You need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, got his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay. Well,
No, nothing happened. He's purple.
Okay, listen, you did the definition of the bill. I need you to get it.
For those of you who didn't hear this 911 call before, she's saying she tried to do CPR before calling. Just wait, because something's going to happen that's going to let you know that there is no way she tried to do CPR before.
For me, okay?
What is
Will
it?
you be available?
No.
All right, you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay, listen, okay, man, listen, so this is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff. And
Right, okay. All right, listen to me. Listen, I want you to lay flat his back for me on the floor.
I did.
Remove the pillows, okay?
Yes, I did.
All right, okay.
Stiff and purple.
Right, okay, listen. Okay, man, that's fine. We're still going to put two compressions on him, okay? All right? If you look your hand on his breastbone, right instead of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Would you have hands up on that hand?
Betty, I'm telling you. There's somebody that makes you tell.
Okay.
Please, okay, your girdle.
Okay, listen to me. All right, I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between his chest, right between his breastbones. Put your other hand up on that hand. We want to pump his chest to be hard and fast. Going to do it twice per second.
The gurgle. So she couldn't have tried it before. Otherwise, that gurgle would happen before. And now we're going to hear her supposedly pumping his chest 2 times a second. And watch how not out of breath she is and how close to her face the phone is.
I'm doing it again.
Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count on blood for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is 19.
Okay, man, just keep.
She doesn't even want to play the game. She's faking. She doesn't even want to bother faking it. Okay, so people are asking about, in the chat, asking about lividity, skin slippage, evidence that she did CPR, this sort of thing. So lividity would have been on its way out if he had been gone long enough for there to be skin slippage. That is just based on things I know from being in court. I am not an ME or a pathologist. A pathologist will tell us more. Somebody was asking about the skin slippage, and because he had decomposed to that point, wouldn't there be evidence of her attempting CPR? Well, if she did any kind of sort of rigorous attempt, I expect that there would be. Maybe not. We'll have to see. What was the other question? About lividity. So when somebody asphyxiates, they can look very purple, but post-mortem lividity also can look purple. oftentimes people who find someone in that state are mistaken and think that the person is covered in bruises and they become alarmed when that's not the case. What it is lividity. So I expect the ME may sort of sort that out a little bit more, maybe not.
That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please, hurry up.
Okay, ma'am, just drive here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop to say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting.
I'm still doing it on pumping, okay?
Okay.
Still doing it.
All right, just keep up the chest. Count up, I'll take a count with you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Please hurry.
Okay, ma'am, just get here as fast as they can, okay?
He's there and he's purple.
Okay. Begin pumping his chest for me, ma'am.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Still doing it.
Right, okay, that's fine. You did a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. All right, then get there as fast as they can. I'll know the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Keep on pumping, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on pumping for me, man.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Please, I'm doing it, okay? Put your leg on your feet.
So, all right, I understand. All right, just keep on pumping for me, okay? Okay.
Please hurry.
Right, okay.
Horrible. This is horrific. What happened? Like, what happened?
Okay, man, keep on pumping the chest for me, okay? They're in the parking lot. They should be up there shortly, okay?
I'm still doing it, okay?
All right, okay, good. And you found them in a suitcase, you said?
Yes. We were playing hide and seek last night. I fell asleep. I think they're here.
Just keep on pumping the chest until they reach over,
I know
okay?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay. Okay.
Open. Come in.
She's asking what happened. I don't think it's because she doesn't know. I think she's thought about this and she knows she needs to act like she's shocked and act like she's upset and act like she's confused. That's why she says this is horrific. And I think a lot of her hurry up, part of it is she thinks she's supposed to say that. Meanwhile, she waited 30 minutes before calling 911 and had to be told, 3, 4 times? And she had to have her smoking Dr. Pepper first. And so the hurry up, I think she has anxiety and she wants this whole situation to be over with. They have to come and get George, and so she could get on with her life and have this stressful part be over. I've seen that before too.
There's not coming out.
Let that take over for you, okay?
What was the last time anybody saw him? The last time. We were playing hide and seek. He was the kitchen. Okay. But unfortunately, he's been down too long this time. This is recording him. Hello, ma'am.
So we're there, obviously.
Alright. Yes, no, my boyfriend. Is your boyfriend? Okay. Is there anything medical? No, not that.
type up the picture here, okay? That's what we'll see there.
All right. Oh, ma'am, is still there? Hello? Contact 407-716-8684, reference to mobile. 1308.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 4.
We're ready to continue with the presentation of witnesses.
Yes, sir. You may call your next witness.
State we call Abraham Moreno.
Mr. Moreno, raise your right hand and sworn to you swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Sir, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Abraham, A-B-R-A-H-A-M. Last name is Moreno, M-O-R-E-N-O.
Thank you, sir. You may be seated. Mr. Castro, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, what do you do for a living?
I'm a maintenance supervisor for apartment complexes.
Is that what your position was back in February of 2020?
Yes, it was.
And what apartment complex?
Tealwood Park Apartments.
And how long did you work for Tealwood Park Apartments?
About 2 years.
And tell us, what were some of your duties in your position there with Tealwood Park?
Daily, I cleaned the grounds, walked the property, answered maintenance calls, did emergencies, dealt with vendors.
Did you become familiar with the residents there at the apartment complex?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to meet the defendant in this case and also a George Torres?
Yes.
Let me turn your attention to February 24th of 2020. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
And on that date, did you have occasion to come in contact with the defendant in this case?
Yes, I did.
And tell us, what was the circumstances in which you came into contact with her on February 24th, 2020?
I was called by the manager and the assistant manager to come to her unit. I believe she was already sitting outside at that time.
And when she was sitting outside of her unit, what, if anything, did you observe about her and about the unit?
The police was there. Her ex-husband was present. She was sitting outside, and that's when she decided she wanted to talk to me and the managers.
And what did she tell you?
She's confused. She's not exactly sure what happened. She pointed out that she recalls that they were playing a game of hide and seek. There was an instance where you were going to teach him a lesson, and then she just doesn't recall anything else until the next morning.
Did she say she fell asleep?
Yes, she did.
Did she say things got out of hand?
I don't really recall that part, but I do recall her stating that they were playing their game and that George went into a suitcase, and I didn't ask any questions. I just let her talk for herself.
How long was this conversation?
For about 4 or 5 minutes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Sarah was pulling a Sarah, which is running around making sure that her narrative got out there. So when she goes and volunteers information to the maintenance guy at the apartment complex, this is not Sarah being frightened of the police, right? This guy is not a police officer questioning her and she needs to lie to him. She could have said nothing.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, sir.
You may inquire, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This conversation that you had with Miss Boone,
Yes.
that took place on the 24th? Is that correct?
Yes.
And who else was present on the time that the conversation was taking place?
Standing right next to me would have been Melissa Sexton and Eugene Harris, as well as the officer who was in front of the door.
Okay. So there was a law enforcement officer there that day, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, on the 24th is when you said that Miss Boone made this statement to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
That they were playing hide and seek?
Yes.
And what else did she say happened?
She had told me that they were playing hide and seek. They had drank. She was trying to teach him a lesson, and that was that. She went upstairs. She went to sleep. She woke up. She doesn't know what happened.
Okay. So that was on the 24th.
Yes.
All right. On the 26th, were you not interviewed by law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. So
I may have my days wrong, but it all happened on the same day.
All right, the 24th, do you remember 2 days later that a Detective Scott Lowen conducted an interview with you at 4704 Lucier Court, Winter Park, Florida? You remember that interview?
Yes.
So that was 2 days later, is that correct?
I would assume so.
Yes. All right, so when he interviewed you 2 days later, did you tell him about this statement that Miss Boone made to you that you just told this jury in court?
I did mention it to him.
You did mention it to him?
I mentioned to them that we did have a conversation.
Did you tell him the content of the conversation?
I may not have told him the whole content, but I did tell him we had a conversation.
All right, well, what did you tell him? What content did you tell him on the 26th?
That they were playing hide and seek, that she was confused, she doesn't know what happened. I do believe I did mention to him the fact that she had said that she was trying to teach him a lesson. Not that anything was done with malice. I didn't state that at all.
Okay. So it's your recollection now today that on the 26th, you told Officer Lowen what you just told this jury. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Sir, in preparing for this case, did you have a meeting with the Assistant State Attorney on September 23rd of 2024?
Did I have a meeting?
Yes.
A brief chit chat over the phone.
A brief chit chat that was over the phone?
Yes, sir.
All right. At that point in time over the phone, did you tell him that Sarah Boone, the defendant, stated that she was teaching him a lesson and things got out of hand and that she fell asleep?
Yes.
Is that what you told him?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in 2024 of September the 23rd of this year, 2024.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you telling us that back on...
He's going to say, well, do you think your memory is better in 2024 or in 2020? So they're going to go down that road. And in all fairness to the witness, a lot of people, when you're questioned by police at the scene, you just you're not sure what's relevant and what's not, and you just either answer their question and not elaborate. Yeah, we had a conversation. Yeah, she told me she was confused. They were playing hide and seek. And maybe he said, teach him a lesson, maybe not. But you know what? Sarah herself still told the responding officer, I wanted to make him squirm. So even if they impeach this guy or cause the jury to put less weight on his testimony, we're still seeing two things. One is that Sarah was running around trying to control the narrative, telling a lie to somebody who isn't law enforcement and she has no reason to be afraid of, and, they teach him a lesson.
February the 26th of 2020, you told Officer Lowen at that time the same thing.
As I recall, yes.
So did she ever tell you how things got out of hand?
No.
Sir, you testified that you knew both Mr. Torres and Miss Boone, is that correct?
Yes.
You actually knew George Torres from a different time, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
When did you first know George Torres?
In the 1990s.
In the 1990s?
He was a teenager and he lived down the street from me and my wife.
So you had had a previous relationship with Mr. Torres?
No, not at all.
Not at all. You just knew him from then?
Yes, as I stated, he was a teenager and I was an adult.
Okay. During this time, though, that you became reacquainted with him, did y'all establish a friendship at that time here in Orlando?
I wouldn't say a friendship, but an acquaintance, yes.
Okay. Sir, on Monday, February the 24th, that would have been the day that you were with Miss Sexton and Gene Harris.
Yes.
Out in front of the apartment.
Correct.
Did you talk to law enforcement that day?
No.
You did not talk to them that day?
I don't recall talking to him that day, no.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any. If I can confer.
You can, sir.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect examination?
Just brief.
All right, thank you.
Back in the 90s, when you had previously known George Torres, in this case, where were you living at that time?
I lived across the street. I lived on one block. He lived the next block over down in the middle.
In what city?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And when did you move from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
2018, I believe.
So in the intervening years, from your move from Philadelphia to coming to work at Tealwood Park, did you have any contact with George Torres?
No, as a matter of fact, I moved from that particular block in 2005, so I don't meet George again until I work at Tealwoods.
When did you start working at Tealwoods?
2018, 2019, roughly there.
No further questions.
Can this witness be released?
No, Your Honor, just subject to recall.
All right, sir. You'll be released subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you.
In the chat, Kurt is asking, so this guy can't be asked about his past experiences with Sarah? Question mark. Not yet. In order to bring in prior bad acts, of Sarah's, first it's the defense that has to open the door, and they haven't done so yet. So that's a lot of the reason why a lot of these witnesses are being released subject to recall, which means they're not done yet. They may recall them.
Steve, call your next witness.
The state will call Deputy Kayla Rodriguez.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this one. This is the first responding officer.
Raise your right hand if you swear to swear or affirm that the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You could be seated. Please state your name and spell it for the record if you could for us.
Kayla Rodriguez. Kayla, K-A-Y-L-A. Rodriguez, R-O-D-R-I-G-U-E-Z.
Fine, thank you. Mr. Cacciatore, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
Can you tell us who did you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
And how long have you been a deputy sheriff?
A little over 8 years, since 2016.
And tell us, what are your duties as a deputy sheriff?
As a deputy, I respond to calls for service, anything from a over with call, like a car being keyed the day prior, or a 911 emergency.
And what type of training do you need to be a deputy sheriff?
So for me, I obtained my bachelor's degree from UCF in criminal justice in 2014. After that, in 2016, I was hired by the sheriff's office. Right after being hired, I went straight into the academy. The academy is 5 months of training. We go over everything from case law, scenarios, defensive tactics, physical training. After that, I do 2 more months with the sheriff's office where we go specifically into policy related to Orange County specifically. After that, I do 3 months on the road with a trainer where we are evaluated periodically through that process. You have a partner. You respond to calls for service during that time, and you slowly learn how to handle calls by yourself.
Do you also undergo continuing training as a condition of your employment?
Yes.
Tell us, were you working on February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And tell us, what area of the county were you working in?
Orange County, unincorporated Orange County.
And did you receive a call in regards to this case?
Yes.
And what was that call? What information did you have at the time you received the call?
So the dispatcher informed me that a woman called 911. She was actively performing CPR and that her boyfriend was in a suitcase.
And did you respond out to the scene?
Yes.
And when you responded out to the scene, were you dressed similarly as you are dressed today?
Yes.
And just for the record, you have, it looks like a standard green uniform on with a tool belt, your firearm, and also radio, body-worn camera, badge.
Yes.
Tell us about your body-worn camera.
So my body camera is used to capture scenes when we arrive. So as we are conducting any sort of law enforcement action, we turn our camera on.
When you turn your camera on, tell us, does it immediately capture sound at that point?
It does not. When we activate our camera, it goes back a minute, and the minute that it goes back to, you don't hear any audio for that first minute.
Tell us also about the capacity and the battery life of your camera as well.
So the battery will last us an entire shift typically if it's in a buffering mode. So if we're not recording, it will last the entire shift. As we record, it does drain the battery. So typically we will turn it off if we're sitting in our car for an extended period of time, if we call our supervisor, if we're talking to another deputy on the side, away from a scene, we will not have the camera recording. If it recorded throughout the entire shift, the battery would die. We would need multiple batteries.
So you actually activate the camera in order to begin recording?
Correct.
Was your body camera operational on this call out?
Yes.
She's doing really well, I think.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness what's been previously marked for identification as states H, I, and G that have been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm first showing you what's been marked for identification as states I. Do you recognize that disc?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24, 2020?
Correct.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of your body-worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states I into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
All right, what was pre-marked as I will be received into evidence without objection as states 4.
Ma'am, next I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states H. You take a look at that disc. Tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of that portion of your body-worn camera from that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as states H into evidence.
No objection to any of those coming in.
All right, what was pre-marked as states H will be received without objection as states 5.
And lastly, ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states G. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And you had an opportunity to review this camera prior to coming to court?
Yes.
And is that your...
Somebody in the chat is asking, why are they not playing these exhibits? We haven't got that far yet. They cannot play that body-worn camera unless and until it is actually made into an exhibit, accepted into evidence. So they're laying all their foundation right now.
initials on the disc?
Yes.
And it fairly and accurately represents your conduct on the body-worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's been marked for identification of states G into evidence.
No objection.
Thank you. What was pre-marked as states G will be received without objection as state 6.
In Your Honor, request permission to publish states 4.
You may.
Your Honor, may we dim the light and use the overhead projector?
Yes.
Here we go.
I'll talk to you guys to make sure. That's my, the property manager, I don't know how to go. Tell him really quick, or so he knows what's going on? Where's, yeah. He wants that in. Oh, don't worry about that, we'll take care of that for you, okay? I have to figure it out. Okay, wait 1 second, okay? I really need something to drink. Okay, well, I got my dog parked on the counter. Okay, you 1 second. At the time, you called it? Is that the time you called it? Okay, perfect. Funny, go ahead. Maybe on 7 at 13, okay. Can't go back to that. What's going on? Who is he you? Boyfriend? Yes, because for like 3.5 years. What happened? We drank last night. Can you pass this to the around to the FC? You gotta stop. They need to sign that, sure. No. Each of them has to. This might be a real thing. So each of them has to throw their name. Normally we always. I just put it in. Yeah, you know what's going on? I just got here to throw me in. No problem. Like, put a puzzle together. We can do some artwork together at home. You are putting a puzzle together? Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there. Okay. We've been doing art, trying to pull stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we're drinking. We had a bottle of wine last night. Okay. So then it's like we decided to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So he gets in the suitcase. Okay. Who's that? That's my ex-husband. My former husband. How do you live here with you guys? No. I called him over here. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So then he came over here. Here, let's talk inside. Okay. I called you guys. Are you trying to do that? The problem is I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning. When I found it before you called. Yeah. 1 o'clock right now. I tried. I was awake, but I was in bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. Well, that's when I found him, and I took him out, and I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you guys. Did he be here before the fire department got here? Who? The husband? Or your ex-husband? Okay. Where did you live at? Right on the street. Okay. So you were playing, and who did come up? I did, but then I fell asleep. Okay.
Do you notice how her emotions just flip on and off? And when they flip on, it's when she's trying to protect herself. That's it. Cold.
You're okay. I wasn't here. I'm just trying to figure out what happened. Like having aneurysm or a heart attack or what? What medical condition? None that I know of. None that I know of. No. All we had was a bottle of wine. Literally, just a bottle of wine. Okay. Doing puzzle artwork, then we decided to go hide and seek. That's all that happened. So I put together, I go what in there, but I don't know what happened. So how long were you doing CPR on him prior to calling 911? You tried that all morning? Yes. Okay. And then I told him while I was doing CPR. Did you start probably, what ballpark? Here, let me fill this at the end, okay? Please, may I have my Dr. Pepper? I am still cutting out right now. Ma'am, and you can't talk to him until we get down to the paper, okay? Just don't leave, okay, Brian? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I know. Do me a favor. Stand over here by that part. Give me 1 second. There's a dog in there? Yeah. You want to clear the back bedrooms real quick? Just make sure there's nobody else in here? Did he hear by himself? Nope, he was here with the girlfriend, and that's the girlfriend's ex-husband. He's going to see us. They were playing hide and go seek is what she said. She's been doing CPR on him all morning before calling us. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and start making phone calls. Okay, go ahead. What do I do with this dog? Because I don't want him to mess with him. Come here. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yes. Hey, come on, let's go outside. Come on. Come on. Good boy. Kitty. but just want to make sure. Okay.
Orange County.
Sheriff Office. Right over here. Let me check this closet. Go to garage.
I guess we don't have to set up a crime scene now.
Oh, yeah.
Sheriff, Washington, County, Charlotte, Club Sheriff, Washington. She's like a headline.
Just give us a second, okay?
Sorry, I'll call her and call the break.
It's only not our family, we need to come out of the house. Here, I want you to sit down, because I don't want you passing out. This is probably a lot for you to deal with, right? I can get you some water, okay? Just, I want you not on the seat, because I don't want you passing out. I need to find water. Okay, I'll get some for you.
Match is asking, are they looking for other people? Yes. Every time you go to a scene, one of the things you're supposed to do is make sure the scene is clear. You don't want your CSIs working in there and have some perpetrator jump out of a closet or something. You don't want anybody in there who is a potential witness, victim, offender, somebody who's going to flee the scene, somebody who's going to mess with the scene. I also want to point out that during Sarah's testimony in the pretrial hearing, she said, "Oh, I was concerned about my dogs." Notice, Sarah has not said anything to the officer about her dogs or being concerned about her dogs. Not at all. It was the officer who wanted the dog outside, and her reasoning for that was because she was concerned about the dog tainting the crime scene. So she is trying to preserve this scene. So hopefully that answers some questions.
Your Honor, request permission to publish States 5.
You may proceed.
Let's go ahead and start making the call. Yes, could you go ahead and give me his last name, George? Spell it for me. Georges. And his first name? George, George. George. O-R-G-E. His birthday? 2/13/78. And this is the boyfriend? Yes. How long? 3.5 years. Living together that whole time? Yes. Okay. And your last name? Boone. Spell it. B.
Hold on a second. I just got something that I must have missed earlier. Did she say that George's birthday was 2/13/78? So February 13? So he died just before his birthday.
O-O-N-E. First name? Sarah. S-A-R-A-H. Birthday? 10/10/77.
So you kind of start to kind of collect yourself. Tell it to me again. You guys were playing last night, drinking a bottle of wine,
putting us together, doing artwork,
puzzles, artwork.
had a bottle of wine, and they decided to play hide and seek. So he
What time was that? Do you remember?
I mean, I know that I was fed probably by like what, 12:30.
Okay.
Well, I went upstairs at least, and I fell asleep, forgetting that he was in the suitcase.
Playing the hide and go seek.
Yes.
And at some point you put him in the suitcase?
No, he got in the suitcase. So he thought it was funny to be put in the suitcase. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to joke with you and I'll dip you up and make him, squirm a little bit, whatever it is. But then I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
Where was the suitcase?
Right where it is.
Right down there?
Yes.
You zipped him in there?
Yes.
Thought it would be funny a little bit?
It was. We both were laughing about it. And then I fell asleep.
Where did you fall asleep at?
Upstairs.
In your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally forgetting that he was in the suitcase still.
Okay. And then you came back downstairs.
This morning, or this afternoon, yes, when I got up.
What time?
12:30-ish. I was awake, but I totally forgot that he was in the suitcase. He can tell you there's a lot of things that I/Rita can go job.
Yeah, he did tell me.
But all that good stuff. So I just totally forgot.
You did the CPR on him?
Yes. Yes.
About what time this morning did you start doing that CPR?
No, it was the afternoon. It was afternoon because I was awake. But then I finally decided to come downstairs at like 12:30-ish, whatever it is. And I was like, I forgot he was in the suitcase. And he wasn't moving. Nothing was happening. So I unzipped it, took him out and started doing CPR on him. He was on his way up here. I called you when he got here.
Once he got here, you called us?
Yes.
Okay.
And air was coming out and he was gurgling, but I could tell by looking at him.
But you had to do CPR, you doing that on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the person that was on the phone with me also, I counted with him doing it.
And he's got no medical, he doesn't take any medication?
I don't know. I don't know medical-wise. I know he doesn't take any medications whatsoever. The only thing, like I said, I don't know if alcohol had to do with it, but we had a bottle of wine.
Okay, all right. Here, I want you to sit back down because I don't want
Can I have one more sip of water?
Yeah, go on.
Denver, 29 residential, audible, +3, 0, guys, and
I'll do what I can to get you a cup because I don't want you to have to keep doing that.
The cups are like right there.
Sit right here, don't talk to the ex-husband right
Oh,
now.
I won't. Can I have a cigarette, please?
Ma'am, I can't take anything out of the house.
It's on the back porch.
Nope, all of it, secure, okay? I'll try my best to get you what you need, okay? Maybe one of these days you'll have a pack from someone, sit down and I'll try and get you what you need, okay?
Just cut, please.
Okay. I don't want you on your sleeves. Yes, you put on something. He came back in? So there's no fancy thing. Corporal, I can give you a rundown. She's sitting on her I was getting ready to call you guys. Yeah. Want to talk over here?
Your Honor, request permission to publish State 6.
You may do so.
Somebody's asking about Brian's interview. They haven't cut it out. They just haven't got there yet. Or maybe they did cut it out. I don't know.
Sarah? You get enough water? No, you want to stay seated. I don't want you getting lightheaded. So remember I said the detectives were going to come out and talk to you and go from there. You know what I'm saying? They're here. They're going to ask you a few questions and then go from there, okay? All right.
All right, so my name is Chelsea. My partner Scott. It's my understanding you reside here? Okay. Is it just you? Okay. Your former husband. Okay. But you reside here with George, and then your son lives with you, or lives there's 50-50?
Yeah.
Okay. So from what has told me, she explained last night that you guys were drinking a bottle of wine, and around midnight, you decided you guys. Okay. You guys decided to play hide and seek.
Well, we were playing hide and seek, and then
was your son home at the time, or okay?
No, it was mine.
It
was Brian.
Okay.
Started to play. We just did it like that. Like we were puzzled together. We were doing artwork. You can see the puzzle that we finished in there, and then the artwork, and then decided to play hide and seek. The game's stupid.
Okay.
So he decided to get in the suitcase. So I thought it would be funny to, and he was laughing about it too, to get him up in there. I go upstairs and fell asleep. So this morning when I got here, I actually got up out of the bed. I thought for sure he was downstairs on the laptop, really quiet. But then I came upstairs and I'm like, where is he? Like, and that's what I'm jumping.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. And then you weren't sure about if you woke up this morning.
It was afternoon. I mean, I was
or this afternoon.
But I just didn't want to come downstairs. So I just laid in bed for a little while. And then I eventually came downstairs. He about where he was. And then I was like, oh my God, he was in the suitcase still. So I pulled him out and I stretched him out and I started to try to make CPR for him. I told you guys. So I told Brian. Okay. And then as soon as he got here, which is 30 seconds down the road, I told you guys.
Okay.
The person on the phone had me do the concussions continually, so I can count what's happening. So you guys shut up.
Okay. And so as a part of our investigation, we obviously have to go inside the house. We have to look at things. Are you okay with us going in the house and looking at things? Okay. Okay. And forensics, so we have to have our forensics crime scene investigators come out. Are you also okay with them coming inside, taking photographs and? Okay. Okay.
Can I ask, is Brian or George, was he diagnosed with any kind of medical history?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't take drugs. I mean, we'll have you see him tomorrow morning here and there, but I don't know.
Like, my next question. So you guys don't normally drink? You just drink once in a while, or?
Well, I'm gonna say okay, I guess normal drinking is we will have a glass of wine or two, like we're working dinner, sure, beer, and we'll say a board game with them, we'll take from there. But it's not like.
Couple beers a day?
I don't understand though, for the little bit that we had, not having to do it. I don't know if they had a heart attack or a stroke or anything, or what happened to them. I don't know.
So were you guys together all day yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Here?
Yes.
Like neither of you left the apartment yesterday?
I left before to get cigarettes.
Okay.
But I mean, walk there.
This guy, you know he doesn't now, he said he doesn't.
I don't know.
As far as you've ever known him, you've never seen him?
No. I mean, he's from Philadelphia, and he grew up in Philadelphia, and then he went to Massachusetts, and then from Massachusetts he came down here. So I don't really know, a whole lot of, medical history or.
How long have you guys been together?
Almost 4 years, 3.5 years.
You guys been living here the whole time?
Yes.
You've never been to the doctor or to the hospital during that time?
He and his brother got into a really bad argument at one point and had facial reconstruction. But he had been in the hospital from that, and then I talked him into going to see like the regular physician so he could get just like a regular like checkup there. But there were no red flags.
How long ago was that?
The surgery or the doctor? Both. The surgery I think was like 2 years maybe, 2.5 years. The checkup was probably again 2 years too.
Okay.
And the suitcase is still in there?
Yep, all I.
Is it normally stored down there, or did you guys travel recently?
No, he was going to start picking some of the donation in there, so that's why
it's out?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys did recently travel somewhere and like that?
After you zipped them up, did you move the bag around and ask them about it, or you just zipped it up and walked away and
we were laughing about it, but I went upstairs and I fell asleep.
But what position was he in when you put it, when you went in? Was he sitting on the rear end and his head up, and he just kind of
No, wait, so like this is right, this is his head and then his feet right here and his feet were down.
So he was laying on his side?
Yes. Yes.
You just closed the flap and zipped it around?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we were playing.
I understand, okay.
So he said that I needed to tell you guys about his family. Like, who do I talk to about that?
We're gonna do that once we walk through and see. Yeah, we're gonna.
I'm just telling you, like,
it's gonna be.
I'm afraid for my life. I want you to know that. I'm afraid for my life. His family has never, like, I'm the blue-eyed white devil, is what they call me. So, they've never liked me, they've never taken me in, they've never accepted me, I'll put it that way.
Have you called any of them?
We talked to his daughters yesterday.
No, I mean, like, about this.
No.
Okay.
That's
so no one's gonna know until we will be making that notification. So
they're going to tell me.
Okay, well.
Yes, they're down the road. They're going to tell me. His kids are going to tell me. They're going to tell me. This was not intentional.
Okay.
They're not going to understand that. They're not going to accept it.
We're gonna do a thorough investigation, and we will definitely make sure that you don't feel scared when we need you. Okay.
And my 9-year-old.
Well, he's at school and he's with your husband.
I know. Well,
Your husband said that, or your ex-husband said he made arrangements for your gun to be picked up.
Oh, okay, wow.
Okay. All right, we're going to go aside.
Yes, please, but can you guys keep me posted so I know what's going on?
Yes. All you have to do is get their attention if you have a question you need to talk to us. He's standing right there, she'll be right here.
Yeah, okay, but will you guys tell me, like, so you're telling me, like, you won't call whoever it is without telling me, right? I mean, I have all their phone.
We're not calling, we're not making phone calls, we're actually gonna speak to them in person.
Yeah.
We
That'll
are.
be later on.
It'll be later.
Prior to us making those
I'm
calls.
not gonna be here. They're going to tell me.
Okay.
We'll address all of that, okay, before we leave.
Okay? This was.
Okay? Right.
Thank you.
Just stay seated, okay, sir? I know you're panicking, okay? Just relax. We'll never talk to you. We'll keep checking on you.
William, yes, of course you're able to chat. I can't always answer though because I think people want to watch, but anyone who wants to chat can certainly chat.
While you were at the scene, did you also make contact with Brian Boone?
Yes,
Did you take a statement from him as well?
I did.
Were all your interactions with the defendant on that day captured on your body-worn camera?
Yes.
I have no additional questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination.
No questions, Judge.
Is this witness released?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You're released, not subject to recall, ma'am. Thank you. Can the parties approach for a moment?
Not subject to recall. Very interesting. So I wonder if the interview with Brian Boone is just being reserved and they've stipulated that they won't require her to be recalled in order to verify that the recording is legitimate. Rosie, has the judge seen the suitcase video yet? I don't think so. Oh, Conk says, I think the state is giving a slimmed down version of their case because they don't know what Sarah's going to say. No, everybody's on callback, not for the state. The state doesn't get 2 chances to present their case. They get 1 chance. They can get into rebuttal and impeachment and all of that. Buttercup, they couldn't ask if Sarah was upset, especially when the body cam shows the jury the same thing that the officer saw. So that is an interpretation of somebody's mental emotional state, and the officer can't testify to that. You've got the body cam, so that it should be enough for the jury. Oh, somebody is saying in the chat that they keep getting chat disabled, but I do see William Carl's occasional chats there. So I don't know what's going on. I do have it on subscribers only mode because I've had a couple of problems with some, there have been a few trolls. So I wanted to prevent that. Okay, I think I'm going to try and fast forward. Hang on.
Instructions that I've given you previously, please don't just conduct any independent investigation or research as the person, places, things, or charge involved, and do not have any discussions amongst yourselves or anyone else. I thank you for your service, and we'll see you shortly.
Oh, I guess they're on break. Buttercup is saying, I just wish the state could stress certain points. I think there are different ways that they could. They'll certainly, I expect that they'll tie it up at closing statements. Captain Katie, the judge had to watch the interrogation videos in order to make a ruling, not the suitcase video. So they're on a 15-minute break, and I think so that means we're caught up now. So we probably have a couple minutes for people to ask questions, though. Somebody's saying the students are very distracting. The judge is teaching them through a mock trial. It would be difficult for them to follow everything sitting in the gallery. Thanks, William Carl. I see that. See, it came through. So I don't know what's going on there. Some people say the state is doing well. Some people are saying, oh my gosh, it's not enough. We're still on the first day. They've covered a lot of ground. They're setting foundation for things. They are strategizing. They already, even before the trial started, they prevented Owens from playing some real serious games. So I think that there is a lot that the state has done outside of the presence of the jury that goes to making this trial smoother and a little more fair. So, Buttercup, you had students at birth on your first day? Yikes. Thank you, Kurt. Yeah, says it's a layup for the state, in my opinion. Elle's asking, who wants a Pop-Tart? So Elle went out during lunch and got Pop-Tarts. So she's quietly trolling Sarah. Addie says, we know everything and we want everything out all at once, but we have to be patient. Yes. And one of the challenges with these things is, I think I indicated earlier, when you know the history, you really sometimes you forget that the jury doesn't see it the way you do, because the jury doesn't have all this background. Vicinator saying, just think about how you felt after watching the video while she taunts him. That's all they really need. I think it's going to depend on what story Owens comes up with. What new story? That is going to be the battle. I think the story is going to be, I felt I didn't have a choice. Thanks, Leslie. I felt I didn't have a choice. Then when the police came, I felt I needed to lie. One time before, I called the police on George and I ended up getting arrested. So I was afraid to call the police again. I bet you they're going to say that. So I felt like I had to lie because I was afraid to tell the truth. But I'm telling the truth now. So I think I want the state to, or somehow for it to come out how many different lies that she tells, so that the jury sees that who she is a liar. It's not just about this, and who she is self-serving. Late Bloomer is saying, I just realized Sarah saying we were laughing about it was, she was laughing about it. I was actually thinking along the same lines yesterday when she kept saying we were having a good day. It was a good day. And you know, narcissists are like that where, well, they're having a good day. Therefore, it means it's a good day. Doesn't matter how everybody else is. Vicinator says she was in no way afraid in the video. Oh, right. She was taunting him, not afraid or in fear. Yeah. See, to me, all of it sounded like revenge. It all sounded like revenge. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, Sarah agrees. She put him in there. She whacked him and she put him in there, and now he's in there. Well, she's taunting him at that point. So why aren't you running to call 911? Why aren't you running out of the house barefoot like you did before, according to your own statement? So Yaya is saying she felt like she controlled everything about George, even his emotions. She did at one point say, well, I know him better than he knows himself. So, Mel, the reason so many witnesses, the defense, they're not actually releasing them, they're subject to recall, is because nobody can talk about Sarah's prior bad acts, as in Sarah's abusiveness to other people. No one can talk about that unless the defense opens the door. Well, right now it's the state's case. The defense has not opened that door. So nobody can do anything about that, right? So they have to wait until Sarah gets up and tells the story and opens that door then to start dealing with prior bad acts. Well, then they're going to want to recall all those witnesses so they can get into that subject matter. Does that make sense? Jillian says that self-defense is BS. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I still can't, Matt just saying, I still can't believe she waited so long to call 911. Yeah. Yeah, that's how important it all was. Her priority is herself. When I first saw all this, I thought, "Oh, what a horrible situation." This is, I felt bad for her. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. But she has shown herself, upon a closer look at that body cam and her hiding time and her flipping her emotions on and off, it became clear that she's full of crap and her interest is herself. Well, the things in the suitcase might suggest he wanted to leave, possibly, or that she intended to dispose of his body and any other evidence that might show that he was staying there, such as his medication and paperwork. So there's that possibility. I don't think we're ever going to really find out. The Heart Machine says, Sarah is full of BS syndrome. As in BS, like bullpucky. Addie says she never sounds fearful. She's always so arrogant and mean and vindictive and a bully. Lisa's saying, I think Sarah's attorneys are smart, but playing games is all they had for that case. I agree. I don't think these guys are stupid people. Yaya says the interrogation sealed it for me. Vicinator says, I'm surprised she didn't try to get rid of the suitcase. Well, by this time, she'd already called Brian. I think that a lot of people suspect that she wanted Brian to help her get rid of it. Meaning, get rid of him as well. And so it's too late. She can't get rid of the suitcase. What's she going to do? So she comes up with the hide and seek story. Oh, guys, keep politics out of it.
We are back on the record. Case number 2020 CF 2603. State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Let me get appearances for the state.
Dave Keshner on behalf of the state.
William J. for the state.
Defense.
Jackie Owens for Miss Boone.
Tony Henderson for Sarah Boone.
All right. Ms. Boone is still seated at counsel's table, wearing the same black suit and pink blouse from this morning. State, anything we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Not from the state.
Defense.
No, sir.
All right. Let's go ahead and stand, and we can bring back in our panel.
The reason I'm avoiding politics is because I don't want people to start fighting. I like you all. That's why I just try and avoid that. I don't care what your politics are. I just try and avoid grief between you.
You may be seated. State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury?
Yes.
Members of the jury, again, if you could please raise your hands, showing that you complied with the court's instructions during our last break. All right, the record reflects all jurors have raised their hands. State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Deputy John Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, raise your right hand and stand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, good afternoon. Can you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Deputy John Martinez, Johnmartinez.
Thanks, sir. You may be seated.
Thank you.
You may inquire, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, who is it that you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office,
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
How long have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
I'm going on my 16th year.
Prior to working for the Orange County Sheriff's Office, do you have any previous law enforcement experience?
I do.
And where was that?
I first started my career with the New York City Police Department,
And how long were you with the New York City Police Department?
about 10 years.
And what was your position with the New York City Police Department?
I was a police officer.
And at the Sheriff's Office, tell us, what are some of your duties as a deputy sheriff?
Respond to calls of service. My primary function is the school resource officer.
And is continuing training a condition of your employment with the Sheriff's Office?
It is.
Tell us, how is it that you became involved in this case?
I was dispatched to this location.
And what was this location?
It was located at 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3.
And is that here in Orange County, Florida?
It is.
And when you responded to that location, who did you first come into contact with?
I came in contact with Miss Sarah Boone.
Do you see Sarah Boone here in court today?
I do.
Could you please point to her and identify an article of clothing she's wearing?
The lady sitting in the middle with the black blazer.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identify the defendant?
Record will so reflect.
During the time that you were on the scene, did you have a body-worn camera?
I did.
And was that body-worn camera activated?
It was.
Were all your contacts with Ms. Boone recorded on that body-worn camera?
It was.
Were other deputies also on the scene at that time?
Yes.
And was Deputy Rodriguez there?
She was.
So would both of your body-worn cameras both capture some of the same time frames?
Correct, yes.
Did you have an occasion to go inside of the apartment?
I did.
And inside of the apartment, what observations did you make?
When I first entered the apartment, I noticed a Hispanic male laying on his back in looks like a small nook dining area. Later identified Mr. George Torres.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously marked for identification as states K and been shown to defense?
You may.
Sir, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification in the states K. Do you recognize that disc?
I do.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Is a copy of my body-worn camera.
And does this body-worn camera fairly and accurately depict a portion of the events that took place on February 24th, 2020?
It does.
And are those your initials on the disc?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification in states K into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as States K will be received into evidence without objection as State 7.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may. Madam Clerk, can you dim the lights?
They're coming out now. I'll get you somebody, okay? She wants to say something. She wants to call someone.
So that was, we will not know the answer to that because we're not. So once I have his office, and I'll have what's called a non-talk. Yeah, that'll be first thing tomorrow morning. I'll know a lot, hopefully a lot more tomorrow morning as far as him. But I cannot. There's no way I can say how, why. So just by looking at him, like, why is he purple? That's normal when someone passes away within any concern.
It's the hard stuff, being so those points in the body, and just become very,
I'm like really scared. I want you guys to know that.
We have all these evidence here, so I'm really good. Nothing's going to happen. Before we go and make any notifications, you'll have plenty of time to leave or do whatever you need to do. Okay? And we talked about that more than Sunday. Right? Yeah, you.
But like, I don't, like, this was totally like, not intentional. Like, that's what I'm scared about too, like.
We'll have all the answers. We'll have a lot more answers tomorrow on the like you said, what you're seeing here is common. This is us coming out.
Protocol.
Yeah. His age, no real medical history that we know of. For them to have passed away, we come out.
I know. Yeah.
We come out to an investigation. Medical examiner's office, we send this is what we did. If he was 75 years old and had a history of heart condition, we wouldn't be here.
I don't know what it is.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to find out, is to get the answers. The answers that you want, the answers that his family
I just
want.
really want to see my staff. I really need to see my staff. I mean, I know I can't go anywhere, but. Right. So do I just like sit out here and wait for you guys?
If you would, yes, please.
Does anybody else having to show up or wait here that needs to be here?
My team's here, that needs to be here, the medical examiners will show up when we call them, but we're not ready for them yet. So they're gonna take him, they're gonna take the photo, take him, but that's towards the end of it, and they'll be called well in advance when we're ready for them, but we're not ready for them at this point, so we won't be calling them quite yet. Okay? So like I said, I gotta go through some paperwork, they're gonna chat, with some people, and then we're gonna come back and talk to you if you're okay with that. So just give us a little bit more time, like I said, and you go and do that, and you can go through.
So, like, you guys tell his family, like, today or after tomorrow?
You have to. Outside investigation is pretty much complete here. Once we leave here, we will be going to.
But again, we'll know. I'm gonna just go and do it without you doing a new road. Talk to you about it, doing anything like that.
But how, I mean, I understand what you guys and how you do it, and, you know, so, but, like, what do you tell him? What do you tell his parents? Like, what's the reason on the delay?
You tell them what we know about them.
Yeah.
You tell them the truth.
And that we're gonna be waiting for the autopsy results, and I will get the autopsy in the morning, and hopefully the doctor will be able to give me some of what they.
I just want to point out here that these officers are coming in with no knowledge of anything, right? They've got a scene. Okay, so they're coming in and they're doing the way they're talking to her is typical. It is, I don't want to say protocol because it isn't really, but it's typical because they explain to people at the scene all the time. People at the scene want to know what's going to happen, all of that. The one who is not acting normal is Sarah. She is acting bizarre for this situation. She is concerned about herself.
Think and see. But yeah, they're gonna know what we're here, what we're investigating, and that we're still.
They're gonna think I failed him. They always have said that. They've always have said that. I told you because I'm the blue-eyed white dragon. That's what they call me. Because they don't want him with me. So he's basically just not really been around his family because he chooses me over them. Even after I encouraged him numerous times to go next to his family.
Do you have somewhere safe that you can go tonight?
Both my parents are deceased, my grandparents are deceased, my aunt and uncle are deceased. I got nobody. I have a brother that's in the Marines, and I got another one that's in jail.
Unless the brother that's Marine is local?
No. Well, he's in Altamont, but I think he's doing whatever Marine he's doing. But
Your phone's inside, correct?
yes.
Does he have a phone?
No.
He doesn't.
He used my phone.
He uses your
Yeah, we use the sheriff. So the only place I could go is over to Brian's house. So I don't think he'll have a problem with it. So
Well, like I said, we're not going to leave here. If you do not feel safe, you're not going to leave here if you do not feel safe. And then we're like,
and then so I in Philadelphia. Well,
paperwork that I'm talking about, because we can go back and forth about what ifs like all day long. I know, so I promise we're not gonna leave here for you and you not feel safe, alright? Please. I don't even know what to tell you. It's okay, just take a seat, have some water, give us a few minutes, let us do our thing, and we'll be back to talk to you, I promise, okay?
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. Okay.
You have anyone in there?
There's nobody here, just me.
Okay, that's fine. You're right there, right?
Yeah.
Sit there and take care of it. I have relief coming, so just leave it.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No, sir.
Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You're released, not subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you.
State, you may call your next witness.
State would call Melissa Roughgarden.
Silverleaf. Oops. You're asking, I know you're catching up. You're asking about Brian, how can he not know how to spell his name and when he was married and all that? The poor guy was nervous as crap, and that does impact your ability to think clearly.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Can you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Melissa Roughgarden, MELISSAROUGHGARDEN.
Thank you. Counselor, you may inquire.
Ma'am, who do you work for?
I'm employed with the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Currently, I am a forensic biologist with the forensics unit. Prior to this, I was a crime scene investigator for 5 years.
And how long in total have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
About 6.5 years.
And tell us all the positions you've held during that time.
Those two, a crime scene investigator and a forensic biologist.
Let's turn to your work as a crime scene investigator. What does a crime scene investigator do?
We respond to crime scenes. We photograph and document those crime scenes through photographs, notes, and sometimes sketches. We collect evidence, we process the scene, and then we do further processing to that evidence back at our forensics lab.
When you say process the evidence or process the scene, can you tell us what that entails?
It depends on the scene and the evidence, but it includes the photographs. We also take swabs for potential DNA. We can also do testing for possible blood and things like that. We also process for latent fingerprints, among other things.
What type of training did you need in order to become a crime scene investigator?
Upon being hired with the Sheriff's Office, as a CSI, I had completed a 16-week training program, which includes in-house processing as well as going out to crime scenes with trained crime scene investigators to observe and then assist, as well as taking on calls with the trained crime scene investigator.
Approximately how many crime scenes have you processed in the course of your time as a CSI?
It would be hundreds. I don't know the exact amount.
Were Were you working in this capacity as a CSI on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, I was.
And tell us, where did you respond out to on that day?
I responded to 4748 Franz Court, apartment 3.
And is that in Orange County, Florida?
Yes, it is.
And when you responded to that scene, whom did you make contact with?
I made contact with the homicide detective, Chelsea Kepsel.
Did you receive information from the detective?
Yes, that it was a death investigation.
Did you walk the scene with the detective?
Yes.
And tell us, what does it mean to walk the scene with the detective in a homicide?
We go into the scene and just observe. We don't interact with anything and discuss what we see.
When you walked this scene, did you see George Torres?
Yes, I did.
And where was he located?
He was located on the floor in the living room of the apartment.
Did you, with the detective, identify potential items of evidence to be collected?
Yes.
You had mentioned previously about documenting scenes with photographs. Was that done in this case?
Yes, it was.
I don't know if they'll show the photos to the public. Someone's asking that. Yeah, they'll show them to the jury, but sometimes they don't show them to the public, so I don't know.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been marked for identification as States M and been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm showing you who's been marked for identification as States M. Can you take a look at the contents of State M to yourself and tell me if you recognize the items contained within States M?
Yes.
You recognize the contents of States M.
Yes, I do.
Tell us, what is the contents of State M?
They are photographs I took on the crime scene.
Do they fairly and accurately represent how that crime scene appeared on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, they do.
Your, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States M into evidence.
How many photographs are there? Do you have a total?
111.
No objection.
All right. What was pre-marked as States M will be received into evidence without objection as States 8.
Yeah, the captions are pretty bad, eh?
Your Honor, we have the lights dim.
Yes.
And I'm first going to publish to you as part of States M picture photo number 4. Tell us, what is this?
This is the front door to the residence.
States 5.
This is also the front door of the residence, just a closer image to the door.
When you enter the residence, what is the first area just off to the right of the front door?
That would be the kitchen.
Showing you it's been marked as States 11.
Yes, so this is just inside the door. To the right, there is the kitchen area.
Showing you States 14.
Yes.
What is this a photo of?
So this is the
Okay, I'm going to stop just here because I'm starting to get nervous. So, for those of you who are concerned about seeing a photo maybe you don't want to see, I'm just letting you know there is the possibility, okay?
counter with the sink in the kitchen. And there's also the open area just above where you can see into the living room.
Showing you from States Composite, photo 19.
Yes.
What is this?
This is a hutch inside the kitchen. You can see in the background that is where that first photo of the kitchen was taken. So that's the entryway. And then this is the hutch, and there is a cell phone on the hutch in the kitchen.
Showing you States 22.
This is the trash can in the kitchen. You can also see the hutch we were just looking at there on the side.
States 23.
This is the contents of the trash can. You can see 2 wine bottles on the top of the trash.
Did you also find receipts in that trash can as well?
Yes.
Photo 25 from the composite.
These are those same wine bottles and 3 Publix receipts that were removed from the trash can.
Did you take these items and
Hold on. 3 receipts. The night before and 2 the day of. There are only 2 bottles. Where's the 3rd bottle? Maybe it means nothing, but I notice these things.
collect them into evidence in this case?
Yes, I did.
Photo 32 from the composite.
Yes, this is just in further into that entryway. You can see the living room.
Photo 35 from the composite.
This is another photo of the living room. You can see the victim located on the floor and a suitcase in the bottom corner of the photograph.
Photo 36.
This is another photograph in the living room. This is that wall we saw in the kitchen there with the opening. You can also see a wooden baseball bat leaning against the wall.
Was that baseball bat collected into evidence in this case?
Yes, it was.
Photo 38.
This is, excuse me. This is also a photograph of the living room, just the other side of the room.
Photo 43 from the composite.
Yes. This photograph was taken in the living room. You can see the stairs leading to the second floor.
Photograph 45.
This is a photograph of the living room just from the other side of the room. You can see the front door in the middle back of the photo.
By the way, this corroborates Brian Boone's testimony when he says he only walked as far in as the tiled area and he could see George's legs and that was it, and he walked out. What they're describing here would be exactly that view. And people are talking about cleaning. I have often wondered if she cleaned up before calling anybody. I don't know. We'll see.
Photo 49 from the composite.
This is a more close-up photograph of the suitcase. This is a photograph of one of the zippers on the suitcase.
Photograph 51.
This is a close-up picture of that same zipper. There is no zipper pull on it. It appeared to be a small wire of some sort, the pink wrapped around the zipper.
If you've got a man fighting with you, you're not getting that zipper zipped up.
This is the zipper on the other side of the suitcase.
Just for the record, that's photograph 52. States 53 from this composite.
The close-up image of that same zipper. There is also no zipper pull on that one.
Photo 54 from the composite.
This is the contents of the suitcase after just lifting the lid.
I wanted to see those contents, but maybe there's something there that we can't see publicly. And somebody's saying, oh, she couldn't zip that up with him in it unless he wanted to be in there. And I suggest to you, or unless he's not conscious.
Photo 56 from the composite.
More of a close-up image of the items. There were miscellaneous papers and paperwork, some clothing items, and apparent blood inside the suitcase.
What item?
Hang on. I want to rewind this a little bit because I want us to have a look at what is in here. Sorry, guys. I want a closer look.
Photograph 51.
This is a close-up picture of that same zipper. There is no zipper pull on it. It appeared to be a small wire of some sort, the pink wrapped around the zipper.
Kurt, he was only 103 pounds.
This is the zipper on the other side of the suitcase.
And she
Just for the record, that's photograph 52.
and she agreed that she flipped the suitcase over and everything. So it's not like she couldn't do it, right?
States 53 from this composite.
Right,
A
but
close-up image of that same zipper. There was also no zipper pull.
we know
That one.
she's tiny and drunk, but we know that she was flipping it around for sure. So she could do it.
Photo 54 from the composite.
This is the contents of the suitcase after just lifting the lid.
Photo 56 from the composite.
More of a close-up image of the items. There were miscellaneous papers and paperwork, some clothing items, and apparent blood inside the suitcase.
Pause. Okay. What do you guys see? What are you seeing? So I'm seeing pink clothes because I see apparent blood, but I'm seeing pink clothes. So those would be hers, would they not? They're not going to be his. Yeah? We got a Sarah Boone apologist in the chat. That's fine. Once she's found, she can be found guilty. As long as they're not spamming or trolling or, you know, being nasty, people can think whatever they want. So, yeah, and paperwork, and we know they found his diazepam syringe. This doesn't look to me like it's his stuff that he was packing up to take with him to leave. It doesn't look like that to me. Okay, let's keep going.
What items of what apparent blood was inside the suitcase?
It was observed on the white cap and a necktie, and there was also visible blood just on the interior of the suitcase.
Photo 57 from the composite.
The contents of the suitcase, but you can see the white cap more clearly and the blood observed on it. You can see the necktie with blood. It appeared to be silver multicolored. And then there's also a diazepam syringe in the plastic casing there. It was prescribed to the victim.
Photo 61 from the composite.
That is the miscellaneous papers and paperwork that was removed from the suitcase.
Photo 62 from the composite.
That's the suitcase after all of the items were removed.
Photo 64 from the composite.
Yes, that is what appeared to be some like small pieces of paper that appeared to be soaked with blood.
Is this inside of the suitcase?
Yes.
Photo 65 from the composite.
That is the baseball bat that was leaning against the wall in the living room.
Photo 68 from the composite.
This is back to the stairs to the second floor in the living room.
Photo 69 from the composite.
So it's moving closer to the stairs to the second floor.
Photo 70 from the composite.
Photographing more of the staircase. These are the steps leading to the second floor before I proceed up to the second floor.
This is photo 71 for the record. Photo 72 from the composite.
The upper portion of the stairs leading to the second floor.
How many bedrooms were on the second floor of the unit?
There were 2 bedrooms.
Photo 75 from the composite. What is this?
This is the hallway. You can see a closet in the hallway and then the door to one of the bedrooms.
Does this appear to be a child's room?
Yes, it did.
79 from the composite.
This is a photograph within the child's bedroom.
Photo 86 from the composite.
This is the door leading to the other bedroom upstairs.
Did this other bedroom also contain a bathroom?
Yes, it did.
Photo 90 from the composite.
This is the bed within that bedroom.
Photo 97 from the composite.
This is the bathroom.
In that master bedroom upstairs.
Yes.
Did you also have an occasion to photograph the defendant?
Yes, I did.
You see the defendant here at court today.
Yes, I do.
Could you please point to them and identify article of clothing they're wearing?
She is right there with a black blazer and a pink shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant?
Record so reflect.
Showing you photo 98 from the composite.
This is the photograph I took of the defendant.
Why is it that you are photographing the defendant at this point?
I collected her buccal swabs, which is a DNA standard from the inside of the mouth, and it is part of our procedure to photograph that person for identification purposes.
Do you also document the rest of her body as well at that time?
Yes, I did.
Publishing photograph 101 from State's composite.
This is a photograph of her hands facing upward.
Photograph 102.
This is her right hand facing upward.
Photograph 103.
Her left hand facing upward.
The other reason this is so important is because if Sarah doesn't have any defensive wounds on her, her knuckles aren't beaten up, they're looking for any signs that would corroborate anything else at the scene. And they want those photos as soon as possible, right? So if later in the day she comes up with a story and then does something to her hands and says, oh, he did this to me, well, now they have that evidence. She didn't do that, but it is something that officers are aware of, and they try and preserve everything at the scene, including potential suspects, as much as they possibly can, as early as they can.
Photograph 104.
both of her hands facing downward, so the tops of her hands.
Photograph 105.
This is her right hand facing downward.
Photograph 106.
And her left hand facing downward.
Photograph 107.
This would be of her right arm.
Photograph 108.
Her left arm.
Photograph 109.
Her right arm with it facing upward.
Photograph 110.
Her left arm with her arm facing upward.
During the time you were interacting with the defendant, did she ever indicate to you that she had any injuries?
No.
You had previously testified that you also collected physical items of evidence from the home as well in this case.
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness what's been marked for identification as State C and been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm assuming you was remarked for identification as State C. Can you take a look at that package for me?
Yes.
Do you recognize that package?
Yes, I do.
And tell us, what is that package?
These are the 2 wine bottles that were collected from the trash can.
Is your name on that package?
Yes, my name is on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, and my initials are on the evidence seal from when I sealed the package.
And it also has your agency case number and the location information for this case.
Yes, that is correct.
Ma'am, could you open the contents of State C and look at it to yourself?
Pull them out to recognize the item. They're wrapped in paper.
Sure, just out of view from the board. What is the contents of State C?
These are the 2 wine bottles that I collected from the trash can.
Are these wine bottles in the same or substantially the same condition as they were at the time that you packaged them on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, the same time I collected them that day.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States C into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as State C will be received into evidence as States 9 without objection.
And Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may do so.
You can unwrap them now.
Those are such big bottles. I still want to know where is the third bottle.
You can put them back. Did you also have occasion to collect the baseball bat from the living room?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously marked for identification as States B and shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm showing you who's been marked for identification as States B. Can you take a look at this item?
Yes.
Do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do. This is the wooden baseball bat I collected from the living room.
Does this item have your name on it?
Yes, it has my name on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, as well as my initials on the evidence seal.
And it also has your initials and your agency case number as well.
Yes, it does.
Ma'am, can you open States B and look at the contents of it to yourself without displaying it to the court?
Yes.
What is contained within States B?
The wooden baseball bat.
And is that bat in the same or substantially the same condition as it was at the time that you collected it on February 24, 2020?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States B into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as B will be received into evidence as States 10 without objection.
request permission to publish.
You may.
You also had an occasion to collect a suitcase as well in this case.
Yes, I did.
Prior to placing the suitcase into evidence, did you process it?
I took measurements of the suitcase.
What are the measurements of the suitcase?
It was 28 inches in length, 20 inches wide, and 8 7/8 inches deep.
Your Honor, at this time, may the witness step down from the stand and approach the clerk's area?
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as States A. Tell me, do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do.
Tell us, what is this item?
This is the suitcase I collected from the living room.
And how is it that you know that this is a suitcase you collected from the living room?
It has the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I labeled with the item description. It also contains my name and the agency case number, and my initials are also on the evidence sheet.
Ma'am, at this time, could you open States A and look at the contents of it to yourself?
Yes.
Sarah is not even looking up. I wish she would have to look at it. And I'm just sitting here thinking about Mr. Torres's mother and what that would be like for her looking at this.
What is inside of States A?
This is the suitcase I collected from the living room.
And does it appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition as the time that you collected it and placed it into evidence?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as States A into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as A will be received into evidence without objection as States 11.
And Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask for permission to publish States A to the jury.
You may.
Can you open the inside of it?
Look how hard it is for her to open it from the outside. There's no way George could have got out of there.
easy is it to operate the zipper that closes the suitcase?
It was a little difficult.
I have no additional questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you also referred to as a medical examiner investigator as opposed to just crime scene investigator?
No, that is not my title.
Do you do reports that that the medical examiner necessarily relies upon in the process of doing the autopsy and additional investigations?
You would have to ask them.
Who makes the decision at the scene as to what items will be photographed and what items will be taken into custody, and what items will necessarily be tested or analyzed?
That's a collaborative effort between the crime scene investigator and the lead detective while on scene.
That would be yourself, and who was the lead detective?
The lead detective was Chelsea Kepsel.
Now, you authored a report in this matter, did you not?
Yes.
And that report was utilized, if you in fact know, by the medical examiner in developing her autopsy report, was it not?
I do not know.
In your report, did you advise the medical, or whomever might read your report, that in fact the body had been removed from the suitcase by first offenders or first responders?
No, I don't believe so.
And we know that you have capacity to do DNA analysis, correct?
No, we process DNA or collect swabs for DNA, and then that's submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for conventional DNA analysis.
You did that with a sample from the inside of Sarah Boone's mouth.
Her buccal swabs were submitted to the FDLE.
And who made that decision?
The detective and I.
Who made the decision not to bother to do a DNA analysis on the blood from the items within the suitcase or the suitcase itself?
That was a discussion between the detective and I.
And you chose not to do that?
No, we did not.
You assumed the blood inside the suitcase belonged to George Torres, correct?
There was blood observed in the suitcase.
But you don't know who that belonged to because you didn't bother to analyze it or have it analyzed, correct?
The blood was not tested.
Now, State's Exhibit B, the bat, you took that into evidence. Was that again a collaborative decision by yourself and the lead detective?
Yes.
And what efforts did you make to have the bat analyzed, given the fact that it was apparently evidence?
It was just collected as evidence from the scene.
Did you advise either the lead detective or anybody else involved?
Okay, I can see from the chat I need to address this. Why didn't they test the blood? What the heck? A couple of people are like, wow, why? Look, all of these things cost money. All of these things take time. If something appears obvious, I mean, here they would have tested it. But sometimes if a thing appears obvious, they're not going to go to all the trouble and all the money and all of that. Obviously, he bled in the suitcase. And it's a little bit interesting how this lawyer is saying, well, you know, you couldn't make sure it was his blood. Could be anybody's blood. Well, whose blood do they think it is? Really? And if he's deceased inside there. So, I don't know. So are they going to argue now that he got into a suitcase that contained blood that belonged to somebody else? Come on. So sometimes they don't spend the extra money. And the other, I don't know how it is in Florida, but I know up here, our Center for Forensic Sciences is backed up like crazy. And if you're just sending things in there that are obvious, you know, your supervisor might give you crap. Like, why are you clogging them up even more. I'm not saying that's why that is in this case. I'm saying that's a potential reason. So,
Both this investigation, that there may be matters that could be analyzed when analyzing the bat that would help or assist in the investigation of this matter?
It's my job to do the documentation and the collection of evidence.
Well, you said it was a collaborative effort between yourself and the lead detective, so did you participate in that decision?
We chose to collect the bat and put it into evidence.
And so there was a fiber analysis done on the bat to determine whether or not it was used to strike George Torres when he was in the suitcase. Was there not?
Pardon?
In fact, there was not, was there? There was no effort to analyze the bat.
I'm going to object. I don't believe the witness had an opportunity to answer the question.
Sustained. I'm sorry. Please.
Can you repeat the question?
If I can remember it, I will. Do you know that there was any effort made in this particular investigation, the investigation of Sarah Boone, to analyze the bat for fibers?
No, there was not.
And why was that not done?
It was not done.
You indicated that you had some interaction with Ms. Boone, is that correct?
I collected her buccal swabs.
Did you speak with her?
In collecting her buccal swabs, yes.
Did you speak to any other witnesses?
No.
Did you make any determination of other matters that might be of import or evidentiary value when you were going through the house and taking photographs and documenting the interior of the townhouse?
You'll have to be more specific.
Well, how many pictures of the child's bedroom did we see?
Here today,
Yes, ma'am.
we saw the entrance to the bedroom as well as a photograph of the interior of the bedroom.
What was the evidentiary value of that?
It's my job to photograph and document while on scene, so the rooms in the upstairs were photographed and documented.
Did you photograph holes in the wall, possibly made by the victim?
I don't recall photographing holes in the wall, no.
Did you take photographs of items within the house or throughout the house that may have depicted incidents of prior violence?
You'll have to be more specific.
How about bloody pillowcases? Did you make any effort to collect and analyze pillowcases of the rooms that you were photographing?
No.
Who made you have significant experience with zippers?
I use zippers regularly, yes.
Enough to have an opinion as to whether or not a zipper is stuck or not.
Is what? Sorry?
You testified on direct that the zipper was a little tight.
Just that it was difficult without the zipper pulls to use the zipper.
And that was your opinion.
Yes, from opening the suitcase here today.
Today, you only tested it today?
Pardon?
You only today have for the first time tested the ability to pull open the zipper on the suitcase?
No, I'm saying it was difficult today.
A redirect examination.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, you documented the entirety of the house as you saw it.
Yes.
So every room in the house,
They were all taken overall photographs.
walls in the house.
In the overall photographs, yes, they weren't all individually photographed, no.
And you did not document or note any type of holes in the wall or any type of damage to the walls, anything like that.
Not the walls, no.
Is that something?
I am so glad that on redirect he's clearing that up, because the way the question was originally asked of her was how many photos did we see? That doesn't mean that's how many photos she took. And any CSI, going to a scene, seeing holes in the walls is going to take a picture of that. So they're trying to imply oh, there's evidence there and you just didn't bother to take that, to get those photos. And there's evidence that's going to corroborate Sarah's story. And, oh, you conveniently didn't take those photos, except that's not the case. So I'm really glad that we're seeing her say, yeah, all the walls are in the photos. It's just not individual. So very good.
That would have been documented both photographically and also within your report.
Yes.
You also, as we've previously seen in the composite, saw the victim where he was laying in this case, correct?
Yes.
Was the victim, did he have blood on his mouth and on his face?
Yes, he did.
Did he have open wounds on his body?
There was blood coming from his nose and his mouth. There was also some other areas of like defects noted on his body.
You also made contact with the defendant too, as well.
Yes.
Did you know any other wounds or cuts or anything else that was not documented that you haven't testified to?
No.
So no wounds, nothing on her?
Not that I recall, no.
No further questions?
Thank you. Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Owens, can this witness be released?
Judge, we'd like her to be on call.
Subject to recall, ma'am. Thank you. Can the parties approach?
Okay, I'm going to try and fast forward past this approach.
Computers
Whoops.
or other electronic devices to jurors, you must not conduct any investigation on your own. This includes reading newspapers, watching television, or using a computer, cell phone, the internet, any electronic device, or any other means at all to get information.
Okay, looks like they're done for the day. I can't believe I managed to stay awake through that. So I want to hear from you guys. Actually, I'm going to switch my screens around so I can see the chat better. Ah, there we go. Yeah, CJ, they are closing the day. KPM says this makes the defense look petty and desperate. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe. You know, my take on things might be really different too. My experience causes me to have a different perception of things. So, and we're here now concerned with the jury's perception. So somebody with less experience actually probably has a better read on how the jury's going to read this. Same time tomorrow. So I believe so, 9 a.m. I don't believe there are motions to address beforehand. I am grateful to be watching with all of you guys. CJ says, I'll say I'm surprised they didn't walk the evidence past the jury. Yeah, let them see that suitcase up close. Jillian saying, my takeaway is I don't believe that he got in the suitcase. Yeah. Loba is saying it started a bit disappointing, but it got better. Yeah, they have to lay foundation. So there are bits that might seem boring, but they need to do it all properly. If they don't do it properly, the defense will have a conniption. Oh, sorry. I'm saying tomorrow. You know what? My brains are like scrambled eggs right now. No, Monday. We have, oh yeah, I get a day off tomorrow. Yay. I'm taking Watson to the park. So Monday. So yeah, so ignore me if I said tomorrow. Because, yeah, that's just, one of my brain farts. Somebody's asking, did you notice the dog gate in front of the dresser at the end of the stairs? Huh. Was Sarah hiding things? Oh, dings on dresser at the bottom of the stairs. Interesting. Possible. Kurt says, I live in the future anyway. Haha. Oh, you're in Australia. So yes, that's Watson's. Well, not a puppy there in what you're seeing on the screen. Younger. Craig says, I don't know what lawyers are thinking. Sometimes you've got an obviously meticulous and professional investigator, and the attorney is all, you didn't even bother to do whatever. Well, the average, I think what the attorney did had or could have had the effect that he wanted it to have. Even people in the chat who follow true crime were saying, what? They didn't test it. What? So I could see jurors saying, gee, why wouldn't they do that? Right? Oh, gee, maybe these investigators aren't so smart. Because you revert back to your own knowledge or what you saw on TV. CSI, right? Oh, wow, we saw this on CSI. And they have access to every kind of piece of equipment and every kind of test. And it's all, wrapped up in an hour. Doesn't really work like that. Marco is saying they took some of the items from the suitcase with blood on them and sent them to the lab. Sarah read off the list in the interrogation. And that's the other thing. This CSI on the stand is the person who collected various swabs, but she doesn't analyze them. She doesn't give the results of all these things. So there's still more to come. I think there is going to be something there was a bloody pillow. So there was an actual pillow though. So we're going to have to wait and see. And if the blood in this, the victim was obviously bleeding, was in the suitcase. Obviously, his blood is going to be there, unless they're going to try to claim that there was somebody else's in there as well. But that's not what they're going to try to do. They just want to make the police look bad. And that's what you do if you don't have facts on your side. Unless the police really did do a bad job. Because sometimes that happens too. KPM, maybe she tried to suffocate George and busted his lip. I don't know. Maybe. Apparently, didn't he have broken teeth, though, too? I think we're going to hear about that. Mazzy is asking what the bloody pillow is about. They found one at the scene. So we haven't got there yet. So it looks like Sub Rosa is saying the defense has got nothing. Oh, but they got a lot of mud to throw in the water. I think that, right? And the Poor Me Act, it's coming. You know it. CJ and PA, jurors don't miss much. Well, I don't know. Plus, they'll get to watch the video of her asking and saying about the blood if they miss it the first time. They didn't. Here's the other thing. In the video, the body cam video that we saw, we didn't see her constantly interrupting the police. Can I please have water? Can I please have a cigarette? And then ignoring the officer when the officer says, no, nobody can go in there. And she demands. And then she tries to sneak around behind the officer and gets caught. So there was a whole lot the jury didn't see. So a whole lot of her behavior, which is too bad because I think it goes to who she is. Jillian King says DNA is for proving, not corroborating what's already admitted. She admitted he was in the suitcase. Yes, she tried to strangle him once. Addie, the defense is going to blame the victim and do him dirt like crazy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we don't know what the broken teeth and blood really were from. We can speculate. As for the blood on the pillow, can Sarah say that he gave her a bloody nose? Well, that's a good point, Actually, that's a good point. So I hope that is tested because, well, see, then there'd be a difference. There's a difference between blood and DNA. So her blood would have to be on the pillowcase, not just her DNA. So, because we would expect to find her DNA on her pillowcases in her house. CJ saying they'll get those videos in deliberations. I want them to see the whole thing. Vera says the challenging zipper was great example for the jury. I think so too. Jay-Z saying, well, if Sarah's blood is somewhere, it could be from anything. Yeah, and she never, up to this point, she hasn't claimed this, so. Oh, Buttercup says, wasn't it Sarah's ear bleeding? Well, the ear bleeding was much earlier, so it's not like it was fresh blood or something. And we don't know how badly that ear was injured because at the time, even looking at the reports, it seemed superficial. WD-40 is saying, do you think the bat striking the closed suitcase could cause lacerations and bleeding? I think she hit him outside the suitcase. I think she did both. And the evidence suggests to me anyway, that she kicked that suitcase down the stairs. Yeah, Heart Machine. George was probably not struggling. Yep. Yeah, she said she put him in. So, okay, guys, I think... Oh, Mazzy's saying Sarah has claws. Yes, and there were scratches on Mr. Torres. So, that Sarah claims were from intimate relations. Stephen saying the story about these 11 minutes will try to negate all of this. It will be a doozy. Yeah, they're going to come up with some big lie. Okay, guys, I am going to sign off. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you Monday morning. I will come and check comments over the weekends. So I know that this has made a lot of you upset, frustrated, angry, aggrieved, been triggering. So do something wonderful. Laugh at least once today. Sometime today, laugh at least once and get a hug from your fur babies if you have them. Okay, guys. Trust your gut. I'll see you Monday morning.